makeshift studio at home. Today we're going to do a quick little point class to maintain your strength and your flexibility while we're stuck at home and waiting to get back to dancing as usual. So let's do this. So this class is not designed for those of you who are new to point work. If you haven't started point before, or if you got your shoes maybe 2 weeks before you were sent to isolation, it's really important that you're not doing it too much at home without your teacher to check that your basic technique is progressing along as it should. Yeah? This video is really aimed for people who are in their first or second year of point work and know their basics, and they just need to maintain their strength and flexibility for their feet and their ankles and make sure that they're not losing all the progress they were making with their teacher. Okay? So if this is your first time on point, switch off the video right now. This is not the class for you, yeah? Wait till classes resume as normal and then go see your ballet teacher properly. So even though this video is intended for dancers who are newer to point work in their first year or two, if you've been on point for a long time, it's not always a bad idea to revisit all those basics and really refine your technique. So you're going to start facing the bar. If you don't have a bar at home, it's not a problem. There's so many other things that you can use that make really great alternatives. An ironing board is actually really good because you can adjust the height of it for most of them. And it's also, they're not super stable, which is actually a really good thing because it tells you straight away if you're using it too much. Other really great alternatives are high-backed chairs, kitchen benches, shelves, anything about yay height that's fairly stable and flat. Also be aware of the flooring that you're dancing on. You don't want to be dancing on concrete or tiles if you can avoid it. These kinds of surfaces tend to be too slippery and too dense, which means that as you're landing your jumps, the floor isn't absorbing any of the shock, and it can actually make you really predispositioned towards getting shin splints and small stress fractures in the lower leg. That is the last thing you want after being stuck in isolation for who knows how long, to go back to dancing finally with an injury. Could you imagine? Yeah, so avoid dancing on concrete as much as you can. Before we put our point shoes on, we're going to do a little warm up to get our joints moving and our blood pumping so that we're not dancing cold. It's really important. Again, injury prevention. It's so important to dance safely while you're dancing at home. Now we're going to get the blood pumping a little bit with a few relevés and sautés at the bar. speed warm up with a quick stretch to make sure our muscles are nice and limber before we put our pointe shoes on. You should be feeling reasonably warm now. Let's pop our pointe shoes on. Today we're going to be doing your standard pliés, tendus, jetés, rond de jambe in your pointe shoes to make sure your feet are really warm and also to get used to working in your shoes properly. So it's not just about being able to do nice relevés and raccourcis, it's also about actually dancing in your shoes. So let's start with the plié. So we're going to take your pliés a little bit differently to usual. We'll start with your standard pliés, but then we're also going to work on one leg with tendus en fondu, so that you're not just using your plié to practice your pliés, you're also applying them to different steps, okay? So start in first position and we're going to start with 2 demis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do a quick little rise onto pointe and then change to 5th. Then we're going to tendu en fondu devant and close, derrière and close, second and stretch, and then repeat in second. So you're going to go demi, demi, quick rise, and this time you're going to close derrière. Repeat your tendus en fondu. So you go 1, and then front, side, stretch, draw it up, and we're going to repeat on the left, of course. So start in first position, make sure all of your demi-pliés, press your heels into the ground, ensure your knees are over your toes, and keep your core really lifted. de jambe to keep working our feet and working through our point shoes every time we do simple steps. Okay, so you're going to start in fifth position with a breathe. Do a petit développé to artère and close, and then a tendu with a plié. Repeat to second. Artère, close front, tendu and plié. See how I'm using the floor? Don't just plop it into fifth like that. Work through your demi-point, especially in your point shoes, so that you're really breaking them in and using the strength of all of your intrinsic muscles in your feet. Down and press into the floor, so you're resisting as you're doing your plié. Same to derrière, artère, close, tendu, plié, and then dégagé with a side bend. Be really careful here. Don't bring your hips into your side bend or lose the turnout in your working leg. So you're pressing this heel forward. Everything below your belly button stays completely strong. On top, you stretch out. Close back and reverse. Artère, close, plié. Artère, close, plié. Artère, close, plié. And this time we're going to go away from the bar. For the second half, you're going to tendu front and then press over your feet, so you're really shaping that wing foot. So you've got that heel pressing right forward into that lovely shape we like to see in your arabesques and your devant lines. So you're shaping the foot to the front. When we do the second though, we don't want to see that shape. We want the foot to be really straight and the heel pressed forward because it's coming from the hip. Okay? So if you have that wing shape in second, it actually makes the foot look like it's not pointed from the front. So be very careful with how you use that wing shape. It doesn't always apply. So you're going to go front and press, recover, side and press, recover, close to the back. We're going to do a back bend and then a rond de jambe on de don and close back again. Reverse. So when you're going to the back, this one you've got to be really careful with. Face this way so you can see. Do not put your platform flat on the ground. See that sickle shape? Blah. Stretch it. You need to wing the foot. So don't put too much pressure on this leg. It's just a gentle stretch. It's really careful and you're keeping this knee pressing back, and you should just have your weight on your big toe for this one. Don't do this, yeah? That's the last kind of habit that you want to be trying to bring in to your dancing and then go back to your dance teacher, yeah? Don't do that to them. So you're here, knee back. This to the back, it's really more about opening in the hip rather than stretching the foot. Then we run forward to second. Again, no wing shape to second. Close front. We're going to cambre back again. And then rond de jambe en dehors this time. Front and close. Easy. And of course, we'll be doing it to both sides. and start with what you would call your typical point work steps. I'm going to put your feet in parallel and we're going to do 4 walks over parallel feet. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Rise 5, lower 6, plie 7 and 8. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 5, roll through your shoes, keep your ankles squeezed together, plie, and this time as you come out of your plie, you're going to rotate from the hips into first. So this will be one of the few times I ever tell my students to put the weight on their heels rather than keeping it forward on the balls of their feet. The idea here is to lift the toes off the ground, keep your knees pulled up really well and your core pulled in straight so you're not sticking your bottom out. You've got to still be really upright and neutral in your posture. So you pick up your toes and then you're rotating only in the hip joint. So you can't cheat your turnout by doing your little wiggle and stepping the feet out and then you end up with twisted knees to create this false turnout. That's the last thing you want to do because again, injuries. We don't want to go back to dancing after all this time and have injuries, yeah? You've got to be really strict on yourself with doing things properly, yeah? So no one's watching you at the moment because you're dancing at home. So you don't have to worry about, oh, is my leg high enough? Or, oh, does it look turned out enough? Doesn't matter. What does matter is, are you doing it properly, yeah? It's a really good opportunity to reset your body and reset your approach to how you do things, yeah? What really is important is taking care of your body, and that means doing your technique properly. If you're using your technique properly, you're going to really reduce your injury risk and it will make you stronger in the right areas. So the idea here, you plie, pick up your toes as you stretch your knees, rotate only in the hip joint. So you should be able to feel your rotators deep at the top of your thigh bone, the femur, as it sits in the hip joint. You should feel all those tiny little muscles deep below your bottom, turning out your legs, and then you can relax the muscles at the front of your shins and put your feet in your turnout, yeah? So if I do it again, I pick up my feet, rotate and put it down, and then look down and check. I usually find one side's a bit stronger than the other. So you have to make sure that you're really even as well, because otherwise you're going to throw your hips out. So here, lift, rotate, feel it, and I put it down, a little bit more even. So this side is actually better with the rotation, but this side is typically my good leg. So, you know, we have different strengths in different areas. We lift, rotate, and check it. That's better. So now we're going to do the same pattern in first position turned out. So you go over one foot first, stretch in between. 2, 3, 4, 5, roll down, 6. Now when you roll down, you should be back in that position. Don't lose your turnout. Keep it forward, yeah? So you have to use your rotators. Plie, and again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, check it, 7 and 8. So I've got a little bit of a gap in my heels at the moment, so I have lost my turnout a touch, so that's something I can work on. So start in parallel, let's do it to the music. cover how we can plie when up on pointe. So if we rise up onto our pointe shoes, and I face the side so you can see what I'm doing with my ankles, you can plie on pointe two different ways. The first one is to stretch the ankles and then recover. And then the other way is actually to contract the ankle, so you create like a lightning bolt shape, and then stretch and down. So they're both quite different. The second one is a little bit ugly, but it does have a purpose in your pointe work. Okay, so the first time you're trying to get that increased range in the ankle joint, if you have hyper flexible feet or really soft shoes, I don't recommend you do this at all. But for everyone can always be strengthening the ankle, and that is this way, yeah? So the idea is that you're aiming to keep your platform as flat to the floor as you can, recover. So you start on a pointed foot, on pointe, and then as you contract the ankle, try and push that turn out and hold that ankle as still as possible. Yeah, you can see mine's wobbling around a little bit. That's one of the effects of not being in your pointe shoes for about a year. Yes, and then we go up and roll down. Okay, so really good skill to have, because as you progress to more advanced pointe work, you do a lot of work on contracted feet as well as pointed feet. Okay, it feels very different. You can still see that you're using your muscles differently, right? So here is more of a relaxed position where you're allowing the shoe to hold your weight, but with a contraction, it's much more of your own strength between the positions. Okay, so we're just going to practice those. You're going to rise to pointe, stretch, rise and lower, and then repeat, contract, rise and lower. Just that on repeat. So really try and mimic that shape as much as you can. Notice I'm not here, yeah? I have to keep my hips straight above my feet, my knees press forward and my heels press backwards. So even though it's that lightning bolt shape, you still have to try and point the foot in that shape. Don't try and hold it flat as such, still round the foot. And up. So we'll do it in parallel, facing the bar. I'm going to face sideways a little so you can follow along nicely, but you should be facing the bar. Two hands, stable ankles, and keep your core really pulled up the entire time, yes? And we're going to do some relevés. So we'll do a nice simple combination so that we can really focus on how we're performing the relevés. So you start with a plie and then you snatch up onto pointe. But it's really important, do not leave the floor to do a relevé. So you go down quickly, and then as you're rolling down through your shoes, make sure your heels hit the floor before you plie again. So you don't want to end up in this in-between position here. Yeah, once you're more advanced and you're working on more contemporary things on pointe, those sort of positions are okay to work through. But in your early years on pointe, you should be doing everything in its purest form. So that means we plie, snatch onto pointe, otherwise it's just a rise, and then you roll through your shoes, and as soon as those heels hit the floor, you can relax here, yeah? You still have to keep this strong. It's the bottom half, and the front of the shins and the top of the foot, those should take a minute to just breathe and relax, okay? So a big part of pointe work is being really selective with where you apply your energy. So at the moment, this is a moment of reprieve, yeah? You're relaxing, you're strong, you resist going into the floor and relax again, yeah? If you're gonna tense your muscles the entire time, you're not gonna hit the position safely, you're not gonna have the right quality in your movement, and you're gonna tire really quickly, yeah? You can't possibly be tense at all times, yeah? You have to know when to release certain muscles and when to use them. So we're going to do 8 relevés in first position and then 8 in second. So that first one in second will actually be an échappé because you're changing from first to second. Okay, so nice and simple, 8 relevés in first, 8 relevés in second. And be really careful you're not using your bar too much, yeah? Okay, now let's do the same thing, double speed. Okay, we're going to keep facing the bar and work on some more échappé combinations. So you're going to start in 5th position this time. We're going to do 2 échappés to second, changing feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then an échappé changing feet in 4 counts, which means we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should have changed legs by now. You should start with the right leg front and finish with the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to do an échappé relevé en croix. So you're going to go to 4th, making sure that those legs are really in line with each other because you're on point, yes? Plie, second, then the other leg to 4th, and second, back to the left to do the whole thing again. Échappé, échappé, échappé in 4 counts. En croix, 2, 3, 4. While I'm filming myself doing this one for you, I'm going to take my 4th position to a croisé line. So my legs will be a little bit crossed, yeah? If you're not comfortable changing your alignment yet, that's fine. Just do the entire thing on fast to the bar. But if you're fine doing that, you can shoot it out to croisé, yeah? Just watch your back foot in that line, that you're not sickling it. Make sure it's really pressed over the big toe and your heels are going forward, yeah? If you do change your alignment in a relevé exercise, make sure your alignment changes on the relevé action, not on the plie action, where you would go here, change, no. From here, stay on fast, don't change your alignment until the relevé action. By leaving that change of alignment till the last minute on the relevé action, rather than preparing for it before you go up, it creates that more of a surprise effect where we don't know until you're already there, yeah? So make sure, plie, then change, yeah? Not change, relevé. Always change your alignment on the relevé action. that change of alignment in the releve. Don't start tuning it just because it gets faster. Okay, for our next exercise, we're going to be working on one leg a little bit more. Be careful though, just because it's a little bit more strenuous in the bottom half, that you're not using your arms on the bar like a crazy person. Yeah? Go easy on the bar. Yeah? It's only there to assist. It doesn't hold you up. So we're going to start in B+ position. Make sure the leg you're standing on is beautifully turned out. And then this back leg here, try and tuck the knee behind the knee. So you're creating that longer illusion of your legs. And if your foot is behind you, then you know that you're not rotating from your hip. It should be a little bit further beside you and press that heel forward, yeah? So we're not sickling, we're not parallel, we're not having a big gap between our knees this way. You cross your legs and rotate them both from the hips. B+ is a really hard position to get right, so make sure you're really using your legs. So we're going to place the hands on the bar. We're going to do a pas de bourrée, back, side, and coupé over as you step to the front. So the idea is that we're preparing for a pas de bourrée piqué. Make sure you take really careful note of where your feet are stepping. Tight fifth. Proper second, don't step to first, go a little bit wider, and then through fifth as you roll down. On the next one, we're going to pick up the feet to coup de pied height. So we're doing a petit pas de bourrée piqué. And step through fifth, petit devant, step through second properly, petit devant, step through fifth, and make sure as you coupe over, you're in control of that front leg. Now we're going to do it full height to the knee. So pas de bourrée piqué. And 1, 2, 3, and then a releve 1 to 1. So we releve on that leg and roll down. When you're doing that releve 1 to 1, make sure your back leg is glued to your supporting leg and that that back foot is winging. Make sure you really hold the shape properly, up and down. Don't let it bounce around and flop and lose the turnout. Up, down. Keep it in contact with your leg. Then of course we do the same thing to the left. So to mark that out, we go pas de bourrée, petit pas de bourrée piqué, pas de bourrée piqué, releve and left. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. With the music. Ready? So show me that beautiful B+ position to begin. Releve with passe and some petit emboîtés. So start in fifth position. Releve fifth. 1, petit emboîté over. 2, repeat. Releve fifth. 3, petit emboîté under. 4. Then you're going to do 2 releve passes, behind, in front, and then behind again. But each of them, the toe comes to the front of the knee on every single one, no matter what way you're going, okay? So the front leg goes front of the knee, closes behind, front, close front, front, close back. So no matter what the close is going to be, the retire position is always devant, okay? So you're going to go dum, da da dum, and then the third one is a little balance test, and then we repeat the whole thing on the left. Fifth, petit emboîté over. Fifth, petit emboîté under. So with those, make sure you have beautiful tight fifths with no gaps between your feet, yeah? Your legs should all be as one. Squeeze them together really hard. With the petit emboîté action, you've got to make sure you're passing through a good second position beside you. Don't circle that leg around. So from here, we have a beautiful tight fifth with our heels forward. Second, fifth. Yeah, it doesn't go like this. Out and in, out and in, out and in. So it's really strong. You've got fifth, emboîté, fifth, emboîté, passe, passe, hold, and. Fifth, emboîté, fifth, emboîté, passe, passe, hold, and down. When you have those holds, try and release your hands off the bar to check your balance. Okay, we're now going to take our pointe shoes off and finish with a nice cool down in your bare feet. Oh, that feels good. So take your time to take your pointe shoes off. Pause me if you need to. So you're going to put your feet in first, and we're going to do a forward bend over the legs. When you get to the bottom, plie and stretch and recover, and then a big side bend into a cambray all the way around, and do a little balance in first. This should feel really nice in your feet now that you're free of your pointe shoes, and down. We're going to bring the leg to devant on the bar, stretch over the leg to the front, and then rotate to second. Make sure when you rotate you keep your supporting leg weight on the ball of the foot. Don't flip around on your heel. Make sure you're on your toe when you change your alignment. Side stretch over the leg, and then make sure your weight and placement is correct. Lift that leg off the bar, turn around, and of course to the left.